The famous scientist Matthew Morey wrote, "I have been blamed by men of science for quoting the Bible in confirmation of the doctrines of physical geography. The Bible, they say, was not written for scientific purposes and is therefore no authority in matters of science. I beg pardon. The Bible is authority for everything it touches." Hello, I'm your Yadabits host. My name is Dennis Bank. Yadabits is where an investigator opens up biblical events and makes a determination of truth. You don't need just blind faith to believe in God. You can use your head. Given a momentous task that he couldn't possibly have had enough time to prepare for, as a new young king of Israel, Solomon knew where to turn. Here is his prayer in 1 Kings. "And now, O Lord, my God, thou hast made thy servant king instead of David my father, and I am but a little child. Give therefore thy servant an understanding heart to judge thy people, that I may discern between good and bad. For who is able to judge this thy so great a people?" And the speech pleased the Lord, that Solomon had asked this thing. And God said unto him, "Because thou hast asked this thing, and hast not asked for thyself long life, neither hast asked riches for thyself, nor asked the life of thine enemies, but hast asked for thyself understanding to discern judgment. Behold, I have done according to thy words. Lo, I have given you a wise and an understanding heart, so that there was none like you before you, neither after you shall any arise like unto you." God gave Solomon wisdom in the big things and in the little things. One of the areas Solomon was endued with gifted wisdom and knowledge was in nature. God shared with him things that were known of God, but not discovered by man for another 3 millennium. Consider a note written by King Solomon around 935 BC in his book that's called Ecclesiastes. He writes, "The wind goeth toward the south, and turneth about unto the north. It whirleth about continually, and the wind returneth again according to his circuits." With quill in hand, Solomon wrote into the record, as God explained a unique aspect of worldwide winds. This phenomena was recorded in the Bible so that when the discovery was made 3 millennium later, we would recognize the intelligent power of the originator and creator, and that his book was the authority. So was this wind phenomena to ever gain recognition beyond the writings of Solomon? Would a man take the account seriously and investigate it? Well, incidentally, in the early 18th century, it was taken seriously by a devout student of the scriptures and arguably one of the greatest scientists of all time, Matthew Fontaine Maury, knowing that if the Bible described the behavior of the winds, it would be his to rediscover. The understanding of these winds was incredibly important to the travel of merchant ships. Prior to Maury's work, a ship would take at least 180 days to travel from New York via the 15,000-mile route around Cape Horn back up to San Francisco. After these winds were charted, these same trips were shortened by 48 days, from 180 days to 132 days. That is a 27% savings to time and cost. Maury was a hero. The Library of Congress contains the trade winds map of the Atlantic Ocean that Maury published in 1851. This highly detailed chart is colored to show regions of trade winds and doldrums. Trade winds are the movement of air toward the equator from the northern hemisphere and likewise the southern hemisphere. The high pressure in these belts forces air to move toward a belt of low air pressure along the equator called the doldrums. Now, speaking of doldrums, when somebody is in a sad mood or life feels stagnant, they say they are in the doldrums. The expression comes from Maury's wind pattern, or in this case, a lack of wind. Near the equator, there is a belt of calm or light winds between the northern and southern trade winds. Sailing ships can't sail without wind, so it was very frustrating and depressing to get through this region without an engine and no winds in the sail. The air converging at the doldrums rises high over the earth, recirculates poleward, and sinks back toward the earth's surface in the region of the horse latitude, thus completing a north-south cycle. As the air moves north or south, it is deflected by the rotation of the earth. With a careful study of the image of these prevailing winds, we can see the incredible accuracy of Solomon's understanding. I repeat the passage in Ecclesiastes, "The wind goeth toward the south, and turneth about unto the north. It whirleth about continually, and the wind returneth again according to his circuits." How could Solomon have possibly known about the complexity of trade winds, which would have been beyond his experience and certainly out of travel's reach, and yet his accuracy is beyond comprehension? God delights to talk to his beautiful kids and show them things. In Jeremiah 33, verse 3, "Call unto me, and I'll answer you, and show you great and mighty things which you knowest not." If we only understood a single fleeting thought of God, we'd have more wisdom than all the books of the world could contain. Well, that is the God we get to serve, and he wants you to focus beyond the words of the deeply troubled skeptics. Now, don't forget to subscribe to the Adabits channel and hit the bell to receive our new broadcasts.